Hi, welcome to Flaming Rooster Barbecue. Today we're going to step outside the box a little bit and do our first non-barbecue video. But it's still very related to barbecue because what do you do when you cook barbecue? You wake up early in the morning and you drink coffee. And in the afternoon you're obviously going to drink some cold beer. So we're going to do a test on the Yeti versus the RTIC 20-ounce tumbler to see which tumbler is the best for the money and the value. So both of them are 20-ounce tumblers. The RTIC tumbler is, their claim to fame is half the price of Yeti, so this is $14.99. Currently the pricing for a 20-ounce tumbler for RTIC for November 2016, and then Yeti is $29.99, so exactly twice the price, so 30 bucks versus 15 bucks. They're both 20-ounce tumblers. They both have the same construction, double-walled plastic lids sealed with rubber, and if you feel them, they feel very similar. The shape of them is obviously just a little bit different. But we're going to do 3 tests in this video. A lot of people do these crazy 24-hour tests, but I'm going to do a real test that's really relevant to what we use these cups for. So the first one is an ice test. We're going to do a 12-hour ice test. So I filled both of these up with ice to the top. And we're going to seal them, and then after 12 hours, we're going to pour the ice out, or pour the water out, and whichever one produced less water is obviously holds the cold in better, and that's going to be the better one for this test. The second test is going to be a coffee test. So we're going to pour just normal hot coffee into both of these, and we're going to see after 4 hours which one has hotter coffee. And then the third one is going to be the cold beer test. Same thing there. We're going to pour cold beer in, and then 4 hours later we're going to see which one has colder beer. So we're going to let these sit for 12 hours and see what happens. All right, it's been 12 hours, so now we're going to see the true test on how much water comes out of each. So we have the RTIC here and the Yeti here. And we're going to pour out what water comes out from the ice. There's the Yeti. And there's the RTIC. Now from first glance it looks like a lot more came out of the RTIC. And it wasn't a lot more, but definitely more on the left came out of the RTIC. So on that first test, the Yeti won. Okay, the next test we're going to do is a hot test with coffee. So this is brewed coffee right off the boiler. And we're going to first put this in the RTIC. And we're going to do it in the Yeti. And we're going to do a 4-hour test. Some people do a 12-hour test with coffee in these cups. Why would you need it 12 hours? So we're going to do the realistic test, which is 4 hours. So we're going to couple those up and keep them in a room temperature environment. And as you can see on the RTIC, it's 167, 168. And on the Yeti, same reading. So they're both starting at 168. We're going to leave these on for 4 hours and then come back and check the temperature. Okay, so it's been 4 hours since we put the hot coffee in each of these mugs. So let's see what the results are. We'll start with the RTIC and use our thermometer and push it all the way down. So we're at 124 degrees in the RTIC. And we'll move over to the Yeti. And 124 degrees, so they're actually identical between the RTIC and the Yeti. 124. Yeah, it's just spot on. 124.9 on the RTIC. And 124.3 on the Yeti. So wow, those are really close results. So no winner on that test. All right, now for the third and final test, we're going to do the cold beer test. So on the left we've got the RTIC, on the right we've got the Yeti. We're going to take a nice porter from Austin, Texas. Put that in the Arctic. And the Yeti. So we're going to let that foam go down and cover this up. There we go. And we're going to leave those for 4 hours. I'm going to take the temperature on it and see which one's colder. Okay, it's been 4 hours and the beer is still in these, so we're going to check now to see which one keeps it colder. So we'll start with the Arctic. 44.9, 44.8 degrees. And we'll move to the Yeti. Wow, identical, 44.8, 44.8. And again here with the Arctic. Yeah, 44 and some change on both of them, so no difference on the cold test for 4 hours with cold beer. Okay, so in summary, we did 3 tests. The first test was a 12-hour ice test. The Yeti barely edged out the Arctic by having just a little bit less water. The second test was a 4-hour coffee test. It was an exact tie with 124 degrees for both the Arctic and the Yeti. The third was a 4-hour beer test. After 4 hours, there was exact tie again there, 44 degrees for both. So I'm not going to sway you which way or the other. It comes to personal brand and preference and how much money you want to spend, but that's our summary for the Yeti and the Arctic 20-ounce tumblers.